After Bond wakes up following the big battle, he is surprised to find he can only remember 3 math equations. First is the distance formula, which states distance equals rate multiplied by time. Next, Bond remembers the Pythagorean theorem. This theorem states that on any right triangle, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Lastly, James Bond remembers unit conversions, which changes one set of units to another. Bond was very anxious to start pursuing Mr. Big again. So while he was hospitalized, British intelligence sent him his favorite Aston Martin, with custom license plates and everything. The only problem was, the speedometer was in kilometers per hour, and all the road signs were in miles per hour. Bond put his math skills to the test, and he did his unit conversions, which converted miles to feet, to inches, to centimeters, to kilometers. There is 5,280 feet in 1 mile, 12 inches in 1 foot, 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch, and 100,000 centimeters in 1 kilometer. Crossing out all of the units, and doing all of the algebra, you come out with 50 miles equals 80.47 kilometers. Once Bond figured out the legal speed limit, Mr. Big's henchmen started to chase him, so all that math was for nothing. Bond raced across the streets of Manhattan, followed by henchman number 1 and henchman number 2. Since New York is filled with them, it is no surprise that James Bond came across a raised drawbridge. Bond needs the bridge to be at least 13 yards high, otherwise he won't be able to make the jump. Bond observes that the drawbridge forms a right triangle, so time to put those math skills to work again. Bond observed the hypotenuse to be 20 yards, one of the sides 15 yards, and by Pythagorean theorem, he got 13 yards for the other side, so he could make this jump no problem. Bond pulls up to Mr. Big's warehouse and steps out of the car. As soon as he does, Mr. Big fires a rocket launcher at him. Bond knows that a rocket travels at 300 feet per second. He's 50 yards away, so he has to figure out how much time he has to dodge that rocket. With his trusty distance formula, that's a cinch, and he figures out that he has a half a second to jump out of the way. As he jumps, the rocket slams into his Aston Martin, blowing it up. Enraged about his car being blown up, Bond gets a strength comparable to the Hulk's and starts to beat up on Mr. Big with a violence that I can't describe. Finally, Mr. Big is in jail, and the world is safe yet again, all thanks to James Bond.